from Reuters. This is huge news. Sandy Hook families want to seize Alex Jones's social media accounts. This is wild. Families of the Sandy Hook massacre victims want to seize Alex Jones's social media accounts in his bankruptcy, saying that the conspiracy theorist's frequent posts to fans are a key part of the InfoWars business being liquidated to pay Jones's debts. Jones filed bankruptcy protection 17 months ago, has given up on trying to reach a settlement that would reduce the $1.5 billion that he owes to the relatives of 20 students and 6 staff members that killed in the 2012 mass shooting at the Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Jones and the Sandy Hook families now agree that Jones's assets should be liquidated in bankruptcy. Now, I don't know if that's true. I think Alex Jones may have contested that, saying they're reporting this, but that's not the case, but I don't know. They're going to say the families on Wednesday asked a U.S. bankruptcy judge in Houston, Texas, to additionally take control of Jones's X.com account, and prevent Jones from using it to promote new business ventures. That is wild. They say it's, quote, no different than a customer list of any other liquidating business. First, I will stress that you don't own your social media accounts. X owns it. And they grant access to Alex to use that. That's terms of service and agreements. They would have to seize access, not from Alex, but from Elon Musk. I don't see this ever happening, but this is an insane move. They argue that Jones has used a social media account to push down the value of InfoWars by diverting sales from that site to his father's drjonesesnaturals.com, which sells health supplements and other products. A quick question. Is Alex Jones' dad a doctor?
I'm going to Google that right now.
Dr. Jones's Naturals.
Or is this like a doctor philosophy type
that does seem right. I think I read that somewhere.
That his dad's a doctor?
Yeah. I think I read that in Shane's profile of Alex Jones, as a matter of fact.
So they say a bankruptcy judge is scheduled to hear the family's demand at a Friday court hearing in Houston. The judge is expected to convert Alex Jones's bankruptcy case from a Chapter 11 to a Chapter 7 liquidation. Jones claimed for years the Sandy Hook killings were staged. He did later then say he didn't think that was correct. Jones has estimated that he has less than $12 million in assets, meaning that he will carry an enormous legal debt even after InfoWars and his other assets are sold.
Alex Jones' dad is apparently a dentist.
Oh, wow. Look at that. So he is a doctor specializing in dentistry. So he's a doctor.
Yeah.
Dr. Jones's Naturals. This is not about restitution. Shutting down InfoWars doesn't actually get them any money. If they're going to be filing, they should be filing to say we get X amount garnished off of InfoWars revenue per month or something like that. Taking his Twitter account from his X account from him, they're literally just saying no longer can this man speak in public. It's an impossible thing they're doing. There's literally nothing they can do. Alex can make a new X account tomorrow and tweet one time with a video of him talking, and it's going to skyrocket. I don't even know how they seize a social media account, but this is wild. I suppose, considering we're moving closer to the election, we're going to see more. I don't know, man. I guess the question is, do we see more censorship attempts like this?
Well, this is absolutely terrifying, mortifying, stupefying. It's brutal to watch what they're doing to Alex. On top of that, I see this potentially being a Supreme Court issue 3 years from now, because this gets to the fundamental question of what is a social media account. This is almost an extension of the Section 230 debate about platforms versus publishers. If a social media account is a business asset and can essentially be rolled up in bankruptcy, this gives the censorship industry a brand new tool everywhere, anywhere to take out an opposing voice simply by driving them into bankruptcy and seizing the account. So, which is to say that anybody who, because in this case it's gross because it's a $1 billion debt, but what happens if you're bankrupt? Because if you have to declare, Chapter 7 or Chapter 11 because you're $100,000 over the hole when they do the seizure. Any lawsuit that you're unable to compensate on, if the precedent is now that they can take your X account, this will be gamified to take down basically everyone, anyone. Anytime you've got a bad investigative journalist writing about your company or your financial institution or your political candidate, that now, boom, operation mode. How can we get rid of this? Well, we tried going to the platforms. We got them banned on Instagram. We got them deboosted on YouTube. They still have their X account. Okay, well, what if we do lawfare, force them to file a Chapter 7? then we know, because we've got legal precedent, that we can just seize it from them. So the issue, I think the issue is what is, what is a social media account? If it is a platform versus a business asset, then I would think that this would not be touchable. But this is now basically a brand new novel legal theory. And, this is something that I think we should all support the side of freedom on.
You're never going to be able to stop Alex Jones. There's nothing they can do about it. They'll file all of these things every day and night. And let's say they get his X account. Let's say they get all of his accounts. Then he makes a new account.
But then they seize the new account. They say,
and they sure do. And then he makes a new account. And then it gets better. Then some random guy on the street named Joe Schmo makes an account and says, wow, Alex Jones is standing right here. I'm going to film him. And now Joe Schmo's account is getting tons and tons of viewership. And then they go, what? They go to Joe Schmo and say, we're seizing your account because you keep playing videos of Alex Jones? You can't do anything about it.
The issue is it does damage it keeps what would be a burning fire of speech to a low ember constantly. It's almost like the insurgency strategy, the counterinsurgency strategy that our military uses to contain insurgency movements, where the goal is not to eradicate it completely, but simply to render it functionally ineffective by keeping it at a sort of low burning ember where it never has a chance to actually have real influence. So if it takes time to build up a large platform, and any time you start to get close to influence, for it to be able to be ripped from you and start back at zero all over again, is very effective. I mean, it was a game changer when Elon people were trying to do ban evasions all the time, but it rendered you, and you could still sort of get a Twitter platform for a couple days before someone flagged you, or for a couple thousand followers or 10,000, until somebody said, oh, they're evading a ban. This is their alt. We did not have freedom again until Elon came back in. And I do fear that this strategy could seriously work. And this is why this is such a threat, in tandem with the fact that the censorship industry right now is plotting 7 ways from Sunday how to use legal strategies to get their power back. They're plotting this by using with the EU Digital Services Act in order to have this disinformation compliance to spiral back on U.S. companies. I have clipped hundreds of videos of high-level censorship industry insiders. In fact, in April this year, they had a whole conference on legal solutions to stopping disinformation. And this new toolkit on the legal side to coerce this, I mean, this is just like when Alex got kicked off of social media in 2018, and a lot of people thought, well, that's so extraordinary because he's such a big account, and people were hoping and praying that it would just stop there. And then that turned out to be a canary in the coal mine, and I think legally this would be the case if they succeed. And my fear is because it's Sandy Hook, they will win at the trial court level with some favorable judge, and now it's going to be in the hands of an appellate court and then a Supreme Court. And if Biden is able to change the majority of the Supreme Court, we would be looking at a whole new world.
Apparently, Alex is saying they're also going after his crew's social media as well. Now, don't get me wrong, I get it. This is a bad and psychotic thing. My point is, there is no point at which you can remove Alex Jones from the sphere. And what happens if they seize his act? Well, first of all, they can't seize his act. Elon Musk is going to say no. Just outright no, you can't. And then what are they going to do? Try to get some kind of injunction? Alex, you're not allowed to log into X then. That makes no sense. I don't even, sure, a favorable judge and crackpot courts. That I believe. Alex Jones uses X. The court says you are hereby banned from using X, and he says, I'll do it anyway. Well, then when we're going to hold you in contempt or something for violating the order, or I don't know how they legally pull this off.
And thank God, by the way, that Elon understands the importance of the legal here. I mean, he has fought Australia on their legal prohibitions and won. He has entered the legal battle against the Center for Countering Digital Hate and against Media Matters and others. He has a legal defense fund for people who get fired from X. And so thank God, I mean, in addition to the free speech policies, the actual economic resources behind legal defense, we are in as good a position as you could possibly pray for to be able to take on something like this. The issue is at the end of the day, the justice system is kind of the Strait of Gibraltar. It's this very narrow strait, and if you are ordered by the court, at that point, I could see hands getting tied, and it comes down to judges in a world where we just saw what the judges, what our judges are doing to people like Donald Trump in New York, and what they just did to so many other folks. So the issue is when justice is politicized this way, and you have a political figure like Alex Jones, law almost doesn't exist in this country anymore.
It does seem.
I don't
like
think
this
law
is
exists in this
never-ending.
country.
Yeah.
Right.
I wonder too. You're pointing out that if Alex Jones is what he's saying is true, they're going after his crew. I mean, part of the issue is Alex Jones might be able to make something else work, but it's part of it is the Sandy Hook lawsuit is sort of now being used to shut down anyone else who's in his sphere, even though they may or may not have been involved with InfoWars at the time of the incident that kind of set all this off, or the conversations or whatever. And that seems to me to be sort of creeping judicial reach, because ultimately it's not about Sandy Hook anymore. It's not about what was said or not said or anything like that. It's really about how can we strangle and muzzle what's going on here, whether or not we think that the people who are tangentially affected have any actual influence over the situation.
Think about this. Donald Trump had corporate bankruptcies. They could argue that Donald Trump, he had multiple corporate bankruptcies. They could argue that if Donald Trump used his personal account to promote a Trump business, then they can seize Donald Trump's accounts. There's the bankruptcies, whether personal or corporate. And again, this is an InfoWars bankruptcy. This is a corporate bankruptcy proceeding. Corporate bankruptcies happen all the time, every day. If every single time that happens, the social media account of the individual officers or directors or senior leadership or even staffers are now in play, what this opens up is a strategic field of play for censorship operatives and for political folks. It's a brand new world.
What's to stop John Doe from starting a company called The War for Information and hiring Alex Jones as his host? What could they do about that?
Someone else starting the company and him
being a contractor, not even an employee. He's a contractor who produces content when he feels like producing. He gets paid $48,000 a year.
It's a good question. I don't know legally how that would work. I would presume that the lawyers would make the argument that this is a sort of deliberate evasion attempt. They would probably probe all communications in discovery or get some sort of court-ordered subpoena to see if there was, to get the text messages and emails to see if they were trying to do it's basically like ban evasion, right? In a social
I get
media
it, but think about what that means. And I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but that means that a private business that has done nothing wrong, that seeks to enter into a private contract with an individual completely outside of the scope of this lawsuit will be targeted with federal harassment.
Thanks for watching this clip from Timcast IRL. Make sure to check out the live show Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. on this channel. Subscribe and we'll see you all there.